My girlfriend once looked me dead in the eyes and said, "Romance can wait, but my friends can't. They'll still be around long after you fade out." That same night, I folded my clothes into a duffel bag without another word. 3 days later, she and her entire crew were pounding on the door of my new apartment like they were staging a neighborhood intervention. I wish I could say I was surprised, but honestly, the breakup was just the final domino in a long line of red flags I kept trying to paint beige. Let me back up. For context, I was with Lena for a little over 2 years. We moved in together last winter, partly because it made financial sense, and partly because I thought the relationship was solid enough to handle the merge. She lived and breathed her friend group, the circle, as they jokingly called themselves, but also painfully meant it. There was Bree, Jordan, Micah, and Will, each with their own niche, like some sitcom cast that refused to let anyone new into the writer's room. At first, I didn't mind. I liked that she had community. I liked that she wasn't codependent. Honestly, I encouraged her to maintain her friendships. But over time, it began to feel like I had joined a relationship where 5 people were already sharing the driver's seat and I was duct taped to the trunk. The breaking point came the week of our anniversary. I had planned something simple but personal. Reservations at the restaurant where we had our first embarrassing date, the one where I spilled wine on myself, and then a late-night comedy show she'd mentioned months earlier. She'd laughed about wanting to go sometime, but never made the time. I thought surprising her with it might feel meaningful. I miscalculated. When I told her the plan, she paused her video call with Bree and said, without even a blink, "Oh no, that's the night of Jordan's promotion party. I told you about that." She hadn't. I said we could celebrate on another day. She said that wasn't the point. I asked why we couldn't just move the dinner by a day. She said that wasn't how the circle worked. They planned things together, prioritized each other, showed up no matter what. And then she said the sentence that hollowed me out. "Look, my friends were here before you, and they'll be here after whatever this is runs its course." She said it so casually, like she wasn't predicting the end of the relationship, just stating a fact she assumed I already knew. I didn't raise my voice. I don't think I even breathed. Something in me quietly folded inward, like a tent collapsing in bad weather. Later that night, while she was in the living room laughing on FaceTime with them, I packed the essentials into a duffel bag. I left a short, honest note on the counter. Nothing dramatic, just, I can't keep living in a relationship where I'm always in last place. I moved into a small one-bedroom I found online that same night. For 2 days, I heard nothing from Lena. Not a call, not a text, just radio silence, as if she was waiting for her committee to weigh in. Then came day 3. I heard a pounding at my door, like someone was trying to break through it with pure indignation. When I opened it, there stood Lena, and behind her, the entire circle, arranged like a human wall of unwanted opinions. She launched into a speech the moment the door cracked open. "We need to have a serious conversation. You can't just disappear and expect that we'll all pretend it didn't happen." We. Not she. Not the relationship. We. They all stood there glaring at me like I'd broken the terms of a group contract I never agreed to sign. Before I could respond, Micah stepped forward and said, "You leaving her is basically abandoning all of us. Do you get how messed up that is? Abandoning. All. Of them." I almost laughed, not because it was funny, because it was so absurd that my brain short-circuited. Will chimed in with, "We considered you part of the core." Core? I'd barely had one-on-one conversations with half of them. Meanwhile, Bree was proclaiming, loudly, theatrically, that I'd emotionally sabotaged Lena by not giving her adequate warning before moving out. Adequate warning? Like I was supposed to file a request with the group secretary before ending a relationship. When I told them all to leave or I'd call building security, they acted like I was the unhinged one. But I did call, and security escorted them off the property while they hurled dramatic lines like we were filming a bad season finale. That was the last in-person confrontation. But the damage control attempt, texts, group messages, random numbers calling, dragged on for weeks. I muted everything. And for the first time in months, I breathed. Fast forward almost a month. I had settled into my new routine. Quiet mornings, peaceful evenings, gradual reconnection with friends I'd unintentionally sidelined during the Lena years. Then, out of nowhere, I got a text from her. Not angry, not defensive, soft. "I've been thinking a lot. I miss you. I miss us. Could we talk?" I ignored it. 3 days later, I realize now I didn't prioritize things right. I let the brute make decisions for me. I'm trying to change. Again, silence from me. Then a longer one. "I finally understand why you felt so alone. I thought loyalty meant showing up for my friends no matter what, but I see now that I didn't show up for you. I'm sorry." For a moment, I felt the ghost of the girl I once fell in love with. The one who used to crawl under my arm during movies and tell me her biggest fears. The one who wrote me notes during our first year together. The one who held my hand when my dad got sick. But apologies don't rewind relationships. They don't rebuild trust. And they don't erase 2 years of always coming second to people who weren't in the relationship. I still didn't respond. 2 weeks after her messages started, I ran into her unexpectedly. I was out to dinner with Nora, someone I'd been slowly getting to know, calm, grounded, and present in a way that felt effortless. I noticed Lena first, seated with only 2 of the circle, Bree and Will, at a table across the restaurant. She saw me almost instantly. For a second, she looked like she might pretend she hadn't, but she didn't. She excused herself and approached us at the exit as Nora and I were leaving. "Can I talk to you for a moment?" she asked. Her voice wasn't sharp or defensive, just tired. Nora nodded and stepped outside without hesitation. Lena didn't criticize. She didn't guilt trip. She didn't argue. She just said, "You were right. About everything. I didn't know how to separate loyalty from dependency, and I didn't realize how much I'd been using my friends as a shield from real intimacy." She paused, swallowing hard. "I'm not asking for another chance. I know that ship probably sailed the night you left. I just wanted you to know I finally understand what you meant. And I'm sorry. Really sorry." It was the most honest thing I'd ever heard her say. I thanked her. She nodded, gave Nora a small smile through the window, and returned to her table. Through mutual acquaintances, I later learned the circle had splintered. Life pulled them all in different directions. Relationships, careers, moves. The group chat apparently went from constant chatter to quiet trickles of updates. And Lena? She tried to keep the old dynamic alive long after everyone else had outgrown it. But you can't force people to stay inside a version of the past that no longer fits. I don't hate her. I don't wish her harm. I hope she finds balance and learns to love without treating relationships like competing loyalty programs. But I'm grateful I walked away when I did. Because sometimes the bravest thing you can do in a relationship isn't fighting to stay. It's recognizing when you've already been left behind and choosing yourself anyway.